Hello guys, this is Mr. McCloskey, and today we're going to learn a little bit about these things called inequalities and how to solve what are called one variable inequalities and graph them on a number line. So last time we learned about equations, which I'm going to be comparing with inequalities today. And last time we solved these big long equations where we had to distribute and combine like terms and get the variable to one side and then add or subtract something and then divide at the end. We're still going to be doing that today, but we're going to be doing it with these things called inequalities. Inequalities are these things called greater than or less than signs, or greater than or equal to signs, and less than or equal to signs. So like an equal sign is an equal sign, an inequality sign is something like this: less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So we're going to start out just solving a regular equation with an equal sign, and then we'll graph that on the number line, and then we'll solve the exact same thing but with an inequality sign, so you can see the difference between solving an equation and solving an inequality. So let's look over here at number 1a, I call it. So we have a 2 outside the parentheses, which means we have to distribute. We do 2 times 7x, that's 14x. 2 times -1, that's -2. And then we come over here and we distribute again. 3 times 5, 3 times -1, 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times -1 is -3x. And there's no like terms to combine, but we do need to move the variable to one side, so I'm going to plus the 3x to both sides. Plus 3x, that cancels. 14 plus 3 is 17x. The -2 drops. 15 drops, and then we need to add or subtract something, so we add 2, that cancels. The 17x drops. 15 plus 2 is 17, so we have 17x is equal to 17, and then we divide by 17, 17 divided by 17 is 1, so x is equal to 1. If we're going to graph this on a number line, which isn't done very often with equations because it's very, very simple, you would just take a point, a dot, and you would put it underneath the 1, just like that. X is equal to 1. It wouldn't go to the left, it wouldn't go to the right, because it is only equal to one thing, 1. So that's what an equation looks like on a number line. Now over here with the inequality, this is a greater than or equal to sign. Whenever it's pointing to the right, the arrow is pointing to the right, that means you would read this as the left side is greater than or equal to the right side. Okay, you solve the equation the exact same way, doing the exact same steps, so I'm going to seem kind of redundant here, but just bear with me for a second. 2 times 7 is 14x. 2 times -1 is -2. And then you come over here, 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times -1 is -3x, and then you got to move the x over, so you add 3x, that cancels. 14 plus 3 is 17x, the -2 drops, greater than or equal to 15, and then you add 2, that cancels. The 17x drops. 15 plus 2 is 17, and then you divide by 17, so x is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, now this is the only part that is different. This, like I said, it reads x is greater than or equal to 1. Whenever there is a line underneath, your dot is still colored in, just like it was over here. If there is no line underneath, then you leave your dot open. So on this one, again, we circle underneath the 1, there's a line underneath, it's an or equals to sign, so that means we color in the dot, and we don't leave it open because it can be equal to 1, and it's everything greater than that. So you draw an arrow going to the right, showing that it is 1, and all of the numbers greater than 1. So your number line should look something like that. So it's everything greater than 1. So it's 1 and all the numbers greater. All right, so let's go down to 2A and 2B. Once again, I think I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, but as always in the Google Classroom that I have for this channel, this document will be posted so you can do these questions along with me, and I'll have some questions for you to practice on your own, because the best way is to follow along with me and then practice on your own to make sure you got it. That's the best way to learn math. All right, 2A, on the left side, we have to distribute the -3 times 1, -3 times 6. So we have -3x minus 18, the 5x drops. And then we take the -1 and we distribute, and that's -1x plus 7. And then we have to combine like terms on this one. On the left side, we have a 5x and a -3x. That becomes positive 2x. The minus 18 drops. And then on the right side, we have an 8 and we have a 7. That combines to be 15, so -1x plus 15. Then we need to move the variable to one side. So you come over here, the -1x, you plus 1x, plus 1x. That cancels. 2 plus 1 is 3. The minus 18 drops. The 15 drops. And then we have to add 18 to both sides. Add 18. That cancels. The 3x drops. 15 plus 18 is 33. And then you divide by 3, divide by 3. 33 divided by 3 is 11. So x is equal to 11. If we were going to put this on a number line, we would go to our number line down here, we go underneath the 11, and we would just put a point, colored in circle. Okay, now we're going to do something very, very similar to what we just did. I'm going to come over here to 2B. The equal sign changed to a less than sign. That is the only difference between 2A and 2B. Okay, so we solve it just like we did over there on the left side with 2A. -3 times 1 is -3x. -3 times 6 is -18. The 5x drops. And then you come over here, you put a 1 right here. -1 times 1. -1 times -7. The 8 drops down. -1 times 1 is -1x. -1 times -7 is positive 7. And then you combine the like terms. So we have a 5x and a -3x. That is 2x. The minus 18 drops. And then over here, our like terms are 8 and 7. They combine to be 15, so it's going to be -1x plus 15 over here on the right side. And then we got to move the x to one side. We do that by adding 1x and adding 1x. So that cancels. 2 plus 1 is 3. The minus 18 drops. And the 15 drops. Okay, now we got to add 18, and add 18, that cancels, the 3x drops, 15 plus 18 is 33, divide by 3, divide by 3, x is less than 11. Okay, now here comes the part that is different, the graphing on the number line. Over here, x equals 11, you just put a dot underneath the 11, a point underneath the 11. With x is less than 11, you circle underneath the 11. And this time there is no line underneath, so you leave the circle open, okay? And it is less than, so that means you color all, or you draw an arrow going to the left, all the numbers less than 11. Okay, so let's go to the left. Make an arrow going to the left. All the numbers less than 11, okay? The reason you leave this circle open is because it's not equal to 11. There's no line underneath, so it's not equal to, it's just at 11 and all the numbers less than that. Okay, so x is less than 11. Okay, open circle when there's no line underneath, closed circle when there is a line underneath. Okay, number 3A. There's going to be something a little bit different about number 3B. 3A is just solving an equation and putting it on the number line. So let's distribute the -5. -5 times 4 is -20p. -5 times -9 is positive 45. The equals 5 drops. The 15p drops. Then you got to combine like terms. We have a 15p and a negative 20p. 15 plus negative 20 is negative 5p. The plus 45 drops. It equals to 5 drops. Okay, then we got a minus 45 to both sides. That cancels. The negative 5p drops. 5 minus 45 is negative 40. And you divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5. Negative 40 divided by negative 5 is positive 8. So p is equal to positive 8. If you were to graph this equation on a number line, you would just put a dot underneath the 8. All right, 3b over here. We changed the equal sign to a less than or equals to sign. It's the only thing that changed. Okay, so we still distribute the negative 5. That's negative 20p plus 45. You drop down the 15p. Drop down the less than or equal to 5. Then you combine the like terms. 15p and negative 20p combine to be negative 5p. The plus 45 drops. Less than or equal to 5. Then you minus 45 to both sides. That cancels. The negative 5p drops. Less than or equal to 5 minus 45, which is negative 40. And then you divide both sides by negative 5. Okay, this is the part that is a little bit different from anything we've done so far. Okay, so this number next to the p, next to the variable, is negative, correct? The first two we have done, this number has been positive and the inequality sign has stayed the same. Okay, this number was positive, the inequality sign stayed the same. Okay, now this time this number is negative, which means the inequality sign is going to flip. Whenever you divide both sides by a negative, you must flip the inequality sign. Okay, so whenever this number next to the p, this number makes no difference over here, but this number next to the variable, when it is negative, the inequality sign must flip. Okay, so it turns from a less than sign to a greater than or equal to sign. Negative 40 divided by negative 5 is positive 8. So our final answer is going to be p is greater than or equal to positive 8. So you circle underneath the 8. There's a line underneath, so that means we color that circle in. And it's greater than, so you draw an arrow pointing at all the numbers greater than 8. So it's everything greater than or equal to 8. All right, last two here, 4a and 4b. So it's important to remember when you divide both sides by a negative number at the end, you have to flip the inequality sign. If it is positive, the inequality sign stays the same. This one is just an equal sign, so we're solving an equation just like normal. You do negative 3 times 1, that's negative 3d. Negative 3 times 2, that's negative 6. The minus 3d drops. Everything on the right side drops because there's no parentheses over there. We have like terms, the negative 3d and the negative 3d combine to be negative 6d. The minus 6 drops. The 2d plus 18 still just dropping, no like terms over there. Now we got to move the variable to one side. We do that by subtracting the 2d. Subtract the 2d. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8d. The minus 6 drops. The 18 drops. Okay, we add 6 to both sides. Add 6 to both sides. Negative 8d drops. 18 plus 6 is 24. Then you divide by negative 8. Divide by negative 8. 24 divided by negative 8 is negative 3. So d is equal to negative 3. If we were graphing this on a number line, we would just make a point underneath the negative 3. Okay, now number 4b, we've changed the equal sign to a greater than sign. Okay, so this means the number line part is going to be slightly different. The solving the equation part is going to be exactly the same. So negative 3 times 1 and negative 3 times 2, that's negative 3d minus 6. The minus 3d drops. greater than sign drops, 2d plus 18 drops. Then we combine like terms, negative 3d and negative 3d is negative 60. The minus 6 drops, the greater than sign and the 2d plus 18 all drop. All right, we've combined like terms. Now we got to move the variable to one side. We do that by subtracting 2d. Subtract 2d. That cancels. Negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8d. Minus 6 drops. The greater than sign drops. The 18 drops. Okay, now we need to add or subtract something, so we add 6. Add 6. That cancels. The negative 8d drops. Greater than drops, and 18 plus 6 is 24. Okay, now we are dividing both sides by a negative 8. So this number next to the variable, once again, is negative, which means this inequality sign, it goes from a greater than sign to a less than sign. Okay, it flips whenever this number by the variable is a negative. So it's less than negative 3. D is less than negative 3. Okay, whenever this number here by the variable is negative, that sign must flip. Okay, we circle underneath the negative 3 and we leave it open because there is no line underneath. It is just a less than sign, not a less than or equal to sign. So that circle stays open and it's less than, so that means we draw an arrow pointing at all the numbers that are less than negative 3. There you have it. That is how you solve a linear inequality with just one variable and a graph on a number line. Have a great day. Please practice the problems.